Hey, what's up, guys? Myself, Fredo Cervantes. We're live from Crypto.com Arena here, bringing you LA Sparks Weekly, your pregame report. So, one thing I do definitely got to tell you, of course, the LA Sparks right now are on a 3-game losing streak, which is something very much something LA was not expecting early in the season right now. Yes, of course, Lexi Brown has been out 3 games so far this season, and she is expected to miss her 4th game tonight as well against the Dallas Wings. The Dallas Wings are coming into Los Angeles to go ahead and face LA twice. They're going to be facing them tonight here and Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon will be a primetime game. That primetime game will take place at 12 o'clock on ABC this Sunday against the Wings as well. But one note we can look at into the Dallas Wings is what happened about a week ago. Los Angeles traveled to Dallas, and they went and put a nice beating on them, winning by 17 points, 69 to 51. And, it was a great victory. Why? Because Nneka Ogwumike continued to be excellent out on the court. Of course, anyone right now, make sure you continue to vote for Nneka Ogwumike for the WNBA All-Star game, okay? That game will be taking place in Las Vegas under a month away from now. But again, make sure everyone right now, go ahead and go to LA Sparks Weekly. Follow us on Instagram because we are bringing you the latest highlights, coverage, conferences, interviews with players only here on Infanity TVs. And as well, subscribe to the YouTube channel on Infanity TV. You get all of the latest highlights. And of course, you get a little bit more of me. You get to see me on Monday nights on Monday Night Fredo. Of course, it is a live show, 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific on Infanity TV. Then again, if you're not tired of me by Monday, you can also watch me Tuesdays afternoons on their breaks on Infanity TV as we bring you some of the best sports highlights throughout the world. So make sure everyone tunes in here. And of course, follow me at Fredo Cervantes on Infanity TV, also on Instagram and Twitter. All right, so make sure everyone tune in. Of course, I'll be here, maybe not by myself, maybe with somebody during halftime. I'll be bringing you that halftime report here on LA Sparks Weekly. We'll see you soon. Hey, what's up, guys? Myself, Fredo Cervantes here. It is game night here in Los Angeles as the Dallas Wings are coming into town for a 2-game here this weekend. But, of course, we got a chance to talk to Curt Miller just a little bit ago, and this is what he had to say.
Coach, I just saw Dierk, obviously, so hopefully that's a good sign. Any update on her? Still game time.
I have no update yet.
Update. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, you faced Dallas just over a little bit of more than a week ago. Use your words, Allie. Sorry, apologize. They've since gotten McCowan back. How does that change the way they look and kind of stack up?
Yeah, not only McCowan back, but we did not play against Dangerfield in the first matchup. So 2 starters back into the lineup obviously just, gives them even more weapons. Obviously, Tierra is challenging, to say the least, guarding in the tunnel, in the paint, and keeping off the glass. So, again, they have a big 3 with Enrique, Satu, and Howard taking 70% of their shots, scoring 70% of their points, but equally, is challenging now is more weapons. So you can't concentrate on just one thing. They can hurt you in a variety of ways. They got great one-on-one players. But then when the game slows down, they have 2 targets between McCowan and Brown just to be able to pound the ball against you. So, we know the challenge starts in transition against some of their stars, but when it slows down, McCowan can become a real factor and challenge us around the rim.
Whoa, Curt, Lexi's out again, but just how is she feeling? And is this illness similar to the bug that was going around earlier?
Not going to talk much about, her medical situation, but it's good to see her. Today was the first day that she was around the team at shoot-around. So nice to see her around a bit earlier in the day. I know she's antsy, to ultimately get back, but, we got to get her back when she's completely healthy.
You played this team, like Allie mentioned, about 10 days ago or so, something like that, week ago. Is there something that you'd like to kind of recreate from that game when you were able to win that game by double digits here tonight?
You know, one, it was a huge win for us. A road win against a really, really talented roster that can hurt you in a variety of ways. We went into that game with a bunch of goals and our intentions, and probably more than any other win on the season, we accomplished a lot of what we wanted to. And you know, they're a great rebounding team. Sometimes their, you know, second chance is as deadly as their one-on-one players. We did a really solid job in transition. Our live ball turnovers, you know, were kept in check because they can really, you know, score if they can get out with advantages. So, you know, on and on. Just down the line, our intentions on both sides of the ball, it was our most complete game that we've had. So, huge win. Most would have thought that was a huge upset, especially on the road. So, can we replicate it? That's the challenge with more weapons back for them.
Ray Morales, Sporting Tribune. You guys had practice yesterday. How productive was it, and how confident do you feel going into today's game?
Yeah, thank God, right? Like, you know, we're in this, I think, midst of 6 games in 12 days. Ultimately, we end the month playing 10 games of the last 22 days of the month. So there's very few opportunities to actually practice. So nice to get on the practice floor. The other, like, no one will completely get this, and, you know, even explaining to you guys who are around the team all the time. We were searching the other night, and we were playing combinations that have not practiced 1 minute together. In live, true practice, full speed, we hadn't played Dearica yet at the 3. And in major, big opportunity minutes, Dearica's playing the 3 the other night. That's how much we were searching. That's how much our roster is in flux with all the injuries and things. So it was so nice. Long way to get to. It was really nice to be on the practice floor. True practice with Henny, you know, like when it's like literally a intensity and pace of what you're going to typically play at. It was nice to have Henny in practice. It was nice to have Ray back. We were able to try people in different combinations in our, you know, true practice yesterday. Now, we were displaced. We were at a high school. But, you know, I give our players a lot of credit. We stayed focused, and they, you know, we had a productive practice that I think will help us down the line. Unfortunately, in this league, it's hard to get many of them, but that was an important one for us.
Hey, Coach, how does McCowan change their lineup?
Yeah. Gives them another weapon, as I've shared, and when the game slows down, it gives them a half-court option. They're so dynamic. They have some of the best one-on-one players and creators outside of their offense. But when the game slows down, you're going to see the ball's going to be in the middle third of the floor. They're going to be in double drags or horn sets all night long in the middle third of the floor, flanked with shooters, flanked with size, and Tierra and Kalani in high-low situations in the middle of the floor. It is a tough cover. You give a lot of attention. Their shooters are out on the perimeter open. If you don't do a good job in the middle third, then it's just one-on-one with really talented low-post finishers, and we don't have that. We don't have that size. And then what Tierra can really hurt you on is the second shot. You know, she can just root you under the basket. We could do everything right, and they start getting second chances, and now they're just racking up points. So Tierra has played herself into a very, very high-level player in this league, and I personally, you know, we talk about their 3 weapons. With Tierra back, they now have 4 weapons. And those top 4 players, they can stack their starting lineup up against anyone in this league.
For the Sparks side of things, Shanae talked about how you're a father figure type. You're going to protect her from herself. How's that balance been since she's returned? And then how do you best describe the importance of Canada for this squad and what she's meant?
Yeah, I'll take Shanae first. You know, like I'm I won't back off on what Chene looked like the first couple weeks of the season. As good as the All-Star season that I coached her back in Connecticut, she was off to a great start. She's in great shape. She was our best defensive post player in terms of some of our schemes that we believe in. Some of that's off the ball and congesting in her activity. We missed that while she was out. Now, she'll be the first to tell you, and I'm trying to help her and put herself in position. She hasn't found that same rhythm since coming back. She's healthy. It's going to get back there, but it's unfortunate that the Achilles soreness and tenderness that we need to be conservative with and always will with her, unfortunately, it stopped the momentum that she had so much early in the season. So we're going to be patient. I know she's going to get back to there. She's worked too hard not to, and she was really valuable. Our record with Chene compared to without Chene, it's significant.
Did you want to do the?
Oh, I'm sorry. Jordin. I mean, she's the head of the monster, right? Like, proud of the fact that we have a top 5 defensive rating in the league, so we're in the top quadrant. We're in the top half for sure. Once again, the other night held a pro team in the 60s and just didn't have a good enough offensive night to be able to come away with that win. She also creates our tempo at the offensive end. So she's the head of the monster on both sides of the ball, asking a lot of her handling the basketball. In the beginning of the year, it was fun. We had a secondary ball handler with Alasia. Now she's a primary ball handler over and over again and has to get us into things. So as she goes, we go a little bit, and proud of her. I think I would describe her as a career year right now. She's shooting the 3 as well as she ever has. That's always been a sticking point for her and how people guard her, and she's stepping up to that challenge. She's getting us in and out of things. She's calling a new system in game. She's the quarterback out there when I'm not, controlling action or calling plays, and she's trying to figure out how to get everybody touches and feed everybody. So I can't be more pleased with the year that Jordin is having. And I think she has another level. I think even when she gets more comfortable on both sides of the ball and what we're trying to do, she's only going to keep getting better in this system. But proud, I think, I think she's having a career year, and what we're asking, minutes, ball in her hands, shooting, defensively. I mean, we lead the league in forcing turnovers. I guarantee you go back to the games that she was out, and we didn't have any ball pressure. She just changes that whole side of the ball with her ball pressure.
Last 2 will go into Tiffany and John.
Speaking of point guards, I remember earlier this season you were saying you really loaded up on veteran point guards because they're so hard to get, and unfortunately because of the injuries, you had to bring in Henny. She's still very new in her point guard career as a pro. Like, what are some of the challenges that are that she's being faced with as like a young developing point guard in this league?
Yeah, the hardest challenge is no training camp, no practices, with a pro system that she's walking into. So that's the hardest part, like just turning her loose, playing free, playing in transition, using her athleticism. She's been great. But it's a hard ask. The hardship players around the league, it's much more difficult than people realize. And it's difficult in games because you're trying to keep things simple. Then teams know you're keeping it simple. So you can't be as multifaceted and you can't be as complex. And so it's challenging for anyone that's on a hardship, and a point guard that, is asked to lead the team is really difficult. I find it ironic because, we took a lot of crap for all the point guards that we kept, and we like Lasia's out, Nia's out, Jazz is still not 100%. So it's ironic, all the point guards that we did keep or ball handling type guards, we haven't been able to utilize that for a long time now.
Last one, Coach. After 12 games, you sound like you know exactly what the Dallas Wings want to do in this game. how do you stop it enough to win?
Yeah, I think we got to put ourselves in position to be there in the end, and keep using these learning opportunities to get to the finish line. They're going to be. I call this the cannon effect since I became a head coach, even at the collegiate level. They got lit up after they lost to us, and they were not happy with that loss. So we know coming into tonight even more than ever how spirited Dallas is going to come out. And we've got to match that in intensity in the beginning. We cannot feel sorry for ourselves through, our illnesses and injuries. We've got to be ready to compete. And I just want to keep putting ourselves back in positions in the fourth quarter to keep working with this group, finding ways to get to the finish line. But the first half is going to be really, really important. The first few minutes of the game are going to be really important. I think Dallas has lost once all year when leading at halftime. So this first half tonight, and that I know the energy that Dallas is going to come out with, we've got to match that. We've got to match the cannon effect tonight.
Hey, what's up, guys? Myself, Fredo Cervantes. I'm back here, and of course, just got a chance to talk to Jasmine Thomas and Karlie Samuelson about how they're getting ready to go ahead and face the Dallas Wings later on today, and this is what both of them had to say.
Everybody. I look very short.
Jazz is a point guard and someone who's been around this league for a while. Coach was just talking about the amount of different combinations you guys have had to roll out there and kind of learn it on the fly. As a player in those moments, what's the key to kind of being successful with that?
I think just staying together. I think we believe so much in each other, and we are always like building each other up, that no matter whose number is called or what lineup has to either start the game or what it looks like throughout the game, we just have confidence in each other.
Karlie, the grit, it seems like every game you're on the floor and you're like these big time collisions with you on the floor. Like where does that come from? Just the willingness, the ability to give up your body? And then on another note, like how are you feeling like physically?
Yeah, last game was a physical one for me. Yeah, that's why I wear knee pads. I just go after the ball. I played. I don't jump that much, so I play on the floor. So yeah, I just like to go after any ball. Thanks for asking.
Jazz, I think Curt was just saying, still you're not quite 100%. So what types of hurdles are still in front of you in terms of feeling really confident with your knee, whether they're physical or mental hurdles?
I think it's all mental. Physically, I feel better and better each opportunity and each experience that I have. But I think it's just trusting myself and being confident that, I'm healthy. I can take risks. I can put myself out there. So I think it's just me. And the more reps that I get, since we aren't practicing as much, just making the most of them.
Hey, Jackie Ray, Nightcast Media. This question would be for both of you. You guys do have the illnesses, you have the hardships, the practices are kind of all over the place, but Coach always talks about having joy in the rebuild. So with all that you guys are both going through, you being on the floor and having those big collisions, Karlie, tell me something that brings you joy in this rebuild process.
Oh, I mean, I love basketball, and I know that your basketball career is short, and life is short in general, so I just trying to enjoy every moment, even if it's not the best and we want to get wins, right? But, I mean, basketball's fun. It's, like, really grateful to be out here.
I mean, definitely that. I think we're two players that are always talking and that try to bring a lot of energy. I think we make that emphasis every day we show up. So for us, it's just what we can give to our team.
This question's for both of you. If it comes down to having to close out this game, what is it going to take to close out this game and get a win?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we need to learn how to do better. Obviously, we've had some close games, so I think just staying together is what Jazz said at the beginning.
And one possession at a time. I think when it comes down to time and score at the end of the game, you kind of can get overwhelmed with the result. You want to win, you want to finish it, instead of focusing on the small details each possession that gets you there to the finish line.
Fredo Cervantes here with Infanity TV. Karlie, you've arguably been the best shooter throughout the league right now at the moment. How have you been able to pick up that success, and how can you kind of move forward throughout the year and continue that?
Thank you. I think, my teammates finding me, Curt putting us in good positions and just staying ready. I mean, for me to get shots, my teammates have to pass me the ball, so my teammates are unselfish, and I appreciate that.
Jazz, you've been in this league for a long time. You've played a lot of point guard in this league. Jordin is kind of coming into her prime a little bit. What impresses you the most about the way she's been able to play at the start of the season?
She's doing everything. She's playing a lot of minutes. She's scoring it. She's assisting, getting her teammates involved. She's playing defense. She's guarding the best, guard on every team. So I think I'm just impressed with, her resilience, her toughness, and her leadership. She's not. When I came into to the Sparks, she wasn't the most vocal, but I'm seeing her develop that as well along the way, and it's just been fun to watch her.
Follow up for Karlie, if I can. The shooting, obviously, off the charts. It seems like this system, Curt, has allowed players, given players that freedom to kind of do things that they're not necessarily known for, right? Like you're known to be like a catch and shoot type of player, but we've seen you put the ball on the floor. We've seen you create for others. How has that system allowed that, and then what is it like for you to be able to showcase other parts of your game within this system?
Yeah, he allows us to be ourselves. I think I've developed that in my years overseas, but I'm also playing on the court with Nneka and all-stars all around me, so I think I'm probably the second option to defend when I have it on the dribble, so it's nice to be able to hit those pull-ups to kind of open that offense up.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're back here on LA Sparks Weekly with your halftime report. Myself, Fredo Cervantes here, and we are having an amazing first half thus far because the start of the game was not the way LA expected it. Of course, they were trailing as much as 17 points in the first half, but cut the lead down to 9 points. And let's give some major credit to Destanni Henderson. Destanni Henderson went on to go ahead and put up 10 points right now in the first half, which was just remarkable because she had 2 and 1s, and she had a steal with the layup and a last-second shot to close out the first half and give the Sparks down by 9. So one thing that we can look at is that LA was not really there in the first half. I mean, giving up a lot of offensive rebounds, giving up a lot of fast break points, which is something that they are not accustomed to this season. But Wnba always seems to be the person who kind of, at moments, the defense locks in on her, just her. And, every other team kind of makes like, hey, if it's not going to be Nnba, it's going to be somebody else around this team. And LA just kind of had not been put together ever since Lexi Brown has been out of the lineup for the past 4 games. But, I mean, that is something very tough. But you also got to give major credit to Arike Wnba. It's a very difficult name, but she has been amazing in the first half, scoring 14 points. And, I mean, she had 12 in the first quarter. So there's just something that LA needs to they need to take care of the ball. They need to be able to rebound the ball, box out. And, Wnba got to get going. She got to find her spots. She only has 6 points in the first half, which is something not like her right now. But hopefully LA gets a chance to turn this page around and not go to a 4-game losing streak, which is something that's, LA is not really looking forward to because there is a lot of people right now here at Crypto.com Arena. So make sure everyone stay tuned to the post-game coverage and as well to the post-game report with myself, Fredo Cervantes, here with Infanity TV, LA Sparks Weekly.
Night, a great performance out there. You were the spark for the Sparks tonight. How did you feel out there?
I felt great. I feel like once I started getting the flow of things, just attacking and just, finding my team open and just trying to, stay focused when I'm going to the rim. I felt like it just pumped me up and I just stayed focused the whole game.
Destanni, is it going to be no headband from now on? You're headband.
It just comes and goes sometimes. I had got a haircut actually earlier, so I was like, let me show that off a little bit. But next game, I might need to put it back on.
Curt mentioned that obviously you guys had practice yesterday. You've only been here for a week, so how much do you think that practice helped you in terms of getting comfortable and knowing the playbook to be ready to have a game like this?
I feel like for me, practice is just really important, especially, just getting put on the team, while they already been playing with each other. So I feel like it just really puts me in a position to try to learn as much as possible, when we're not having a game. So just taking those days one day at a time and, just staying focused, staying dialed in, and playing my role.
Destanni and Jordin, congratulations on this win. This
you.
question's for both of you. Kind of talk to me. What did it take to overcome a 17-point deficit early in that game and keep battling, and end up winning this by 2?
Grit, passion, being competitive. They came out, Coach warned us that they were going to come out, ready to play just because, how we played in Dallas. And they punched us first. And so we just had to have the mentality, take it possession by possession, and set goals for ourselves throughout the quarter and throughout the game to get 3 stops in a row and push the ball as much as possible. But at the end of the day, it got really physical, and it just came down to who wanted it more and who had the most grit. And I think we showed that tonight.
This question's for Jordin. Enrique started off very, very well. She had 12 points in the first quarter, but she only ended up with 16 for the rest of the game. What changed after that first quarter where you were able to slow her down a little bit?
I played Enrique many times. I know, her tendencies a little bit, so just trying to make her do something different, put the ball out of her hands. She's the number 1 option on the team, so what can I do to be aggressive on her and make sure she's taking tough shots and she's passing and she doesn't want to be involved in some of the offensive sets that they were running. So that was just the mentality that I had. She got off to a hot start, but, as a starting point guard, it's my job to bring that defensive spark. And, Henny helped me out a lot tonight with that as well. But, yeah, just being aggressive on her and making her take tough shots in the second half. And, I think it wasn't just me. It was everybody. Everybody was there helping, making sure it wasn't like a one-on-one battle. My teammates had my back, so that was the mentality that I had in the second half.
Ray Moraldi, Sporting Tribune. Jordin, how are you feeling right now? Because you've played like 80 minutes a game the last couple weeks or so.
I actually feel really good. This is the first time out of my 6 years, I guess, that I've felt the best, physically, mentally, emotionally. I'm recovering well. I'm making sure I'm taking care of business. So I feel great.
Thank you.
Yes, Jordin and Destanni, Rico Cabrera, East LA Sports Scene. One thing tonight on the crowd. Give us your feedback on how you felt, because the crowd was totally into it.
Yeah,
and you guys performed very well. But your thoughts, both of you?
Yeah, the crowd was amazing tonight. They definitely helped us and pumped us up in the second half when we went on that run to tie it. And just throughout the game, their energy, that's what happens when you're at home. They bring that energy and that spark, and that gives us, the mindset to go out there. And, we want to put on a good show and a good game for our fans. They come out and they support us every night. So we got to do our job and, make it fun for them. Not this close of a game, but, we want to try and do our best to, entertain the crowd and come out with a win. So we're very thankful for the fans because they definitely help us get back in that game.
I'll definitely agree. I feel like that type of energy really fuels us as players, and it really impacts us. How we play. So when we're doing good, I feel like when the crowd is ooh and ah, and I just feel like it just puts that extra oomph into our game and makes us play even harder. So it was great.
Jordin, Destanni is obviously here on a hardship contract, and the circumstances of that are very difficult, but for her to perform like this today, what do you think it says about the potential that she has in this league if and when she gets more chances?
I mean, I think Henny has always shown that. Even when she was in Indiana, she's shown that she could be in this league. It's a very tough league. It's very tough to make a roster. There's all kinds of situations. It depends on the team that you're on. But Henny has proven that already. She doesn't need to prove anything else. And tonight just showed that she's very capable of being in this league. And we're grateful to have her here. and she definitely took a load off of me. I will say that. So we're happy to have her here. And, to have her play
like this tonight. Like she had the highest plus minus she blew everybody out the water by plus 16. So that just goes to show you, she's only been in this league for what, 2 years? 2 years?
Yes.
Yeah, just the maturity. Yeah, the maturity of her game and how she's able to impact a team. So we're grateful to have her.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, guys.
We gotta win.
Hey, Coach, I just had a chance to talk to Steph, and she mentioned a lot of people want to make make it a big deal about their record right now. And she said rightfully so, but she gave you a lot of credit for the foundation that you built over those years. What makes you most proud about your time there, and as you look to carry that over into building this foundation?
My career, Allie, what I'm most proud of in building teams is sustained success and building a foundation that isn't a one-year success story, that ultimately building a team at the collegiate level or the pro level that could sustain it and win and put themselves in position to chase a championship year in and year out. My career's been defined by that. A couple rebuilding years in Bowling Green, and then we had 9 straight, 20-win seasons and 8 straight championship regular seasons. Indiana, rebuilt 1 year and tied the school record at the time in wins in year 2. Connecticut, again, non-playoff team, 1 year rebuilding, and then 6 straight playoff appearances. The last 4 been in the semifinals or the finals. And so it's that sustained success that's really important, and it's the blueprint of what we want to do here. We want to build something that we can really look year in and year out and put ourselves in discussion to, chase that elusive 4th championship here in the franchise history. So, that's the building blocks. It's not going to happen overnight, but excited about that. So Connecticut, just a lot of pride. I'm bullish in the fact that I think they're the favorites, and not afraid to say that. But, I'm biased. I was in that locker room with a lot of that core group. I know what kind of character they have. I know what, kind of talent that they have in that locker room. So, proud from afar. But they're no longer my team, and focused on building this in LA, and really excited to do that.
Just one more. So with all that familiarity, obviously, what's the biggest thing you have to guard against today?
I mean, there's a list, but
Where does it start?
it starts with the dual component that your offense dictates your defense, your defense dictates your offense, meaning, they're the highest percentage team scoring off of turnovers. Like 25% of their offense comes off of turnovers from the opponent. No one else in the league is above 20%. So, your offensive execution, you're keeping your live ball turnovers low, is so important to your start of your defensive game plan with them. So it all starts, can we find quality shots, and can we limit the amount of live ball turnovers? Then it gives you a chance defensively. Then you have to move to their dynamic in transition. Not just off turnovers. They're dynamic in transition, and they're unique because the engine is Alyssa Thomas. So you have a post player, that's a facilitator ramming the ball at you. And so you have to have, some type of game plan to try to get her corralled and slowed down to then get them into their half-court offense. And then their half-court offense is defined by the paint, and it has been for years. They're going to be in the top 3 all year in points in the paint, and they're going to be in the top 3 all year in offensive rebound and efficiency. So you get one thing stopped, then you have to all of a sudden change and understand what their next, so deadly at. And then their length. Their length is impressive defensively. Their depth is as good as it's been in a decade. So they present a ton of challenges.
Curt, going off what you were talking about earlier, when you start this build in LA year one, do you take any lessons or specific like examples from when you were in Connecticut year one and doing the same thing? Like, are there things that you repeat to make sure that you're kind of getting off on the same foot?
Yeah, and I think we've established a lot of that same blueprint that preparation is the cornerstone of what's important for us, and putting ourselves in position to compete. Again, a quarter into the season, real proud that 9 of 10 games we've put ourselves in position to compete in this league, and we've had some slippage and we've had some opportunities that we didn't get to the finish line, but really proud that we are preparing and putting ourselves in position. And if you establish that kind of culture, that night in and night out, that you're going to prepare and you're going to grind and you're going to put your best foot forward, that's all you can ask. Sometimes you're out talented, some nights you're out executed, some nights it's not your night. All of those things happen to all these teams in this league, but excited.
Coach, you've been talking about sustainable success all season, but how do you sustain effectiveness that you need to play against the Connecticut Sun to even have a chance to win this game over 40 minutes?
Yeah, it's little things. It's offensively, it's being crisp and as efficient as possible, understanding the physicality that they bring, understanding the coverages that they could throw at us, and what's our game plan? How do we counteract the physicality? How do we counteract the coverages that they're going to show us tonight and their individual, talent? Defensively, it's again, sticking to the game plan, and when they have success, are we doing the game plan well enough? Hard enough? Do we try someone else at it? And then if adjustments are needed to be made, we might not have been the right call on that type of defensive game plan, and we have to adjust, and then can they adjust in the game? But it's little things. It's the little things that mean the biggest things in this game, and just, again, not trying to zoom out and be so worried about what the end result tonight is. It's short battles. It's 4 or 5 minute battles with the highs and lows and the runs that come in this league. Just continuing to stay in those battles and not getting ahead of ourselves, that it's big picture.
Hey, Coach, Fredo Cervantes here with Infanity TV. You've had some great wins. You've had some tough losses. How do you evaluate your first 10 games here this season?
Yeah, tremendously pleased that, and again, there's no moral victories in this league. We've let up some leads that we'd love to have back, especially the Minnesota lead there. A double-figure lead late in that game. But again, I shared the other day with John that we've had 6 different starting lineups in 10 games. We've had players that weren't ready at the start of the year. We lost people that were a big part in free agency that were going to be a part of our game plan. We've had illnesses. We've had, short-term injuries where multiple people have missed multiple games. We have hardships coming and going. With all that said, and where we're at, 500 and in the top half of the standings, 10 games into a first season of foundational year, I think it's a story that's not being told enough. I think that what we've done in these first 10 games under the circumstances has been impressive by our group, and I believe we're overperforming considering the circumstances. Not selling our talent, not selling who's been healthy out there. I don't know if enough's been written that Nneka's had a historic career, like just a Hall of Fame career. And she's off to one of the best, if not the best, first 10 games in a season in her career. Like that's how good Nneka's playing. Is enough of the league talking about in this season under a new coach with a ton of adversity, with people coming in and out of the locker room, new teammates, injuries, that that NECA is still having that kind of season. I don't know if that's being talked about enough. So I'm proud of the first quarter. Who knows where we're going to end up and when we're going to get some of these players back and when all these injuries catch up to us. But I sit really excited, genuinely happy with our first quarter.
Coach, you mentioned that today and previously in the post game against Seattle that you thought Connecticut's the front runners to win it all this year. I'm just curious why you have them above the Aces, who beat the Connecticut Sun last year and also made some improvements and are kind of at the top of the league at this point.
Yeah, I'm biased, and arguably proud of that core group that's there. I'm always going to be a cheerleader for them and a supporter of them. So my lens is skewed. My lens is biased. I know what kind of people are in that locker room and the talent, but also just the competitors that are there. So yeah, I'm not afraid of that, but it's certainly a biased lens, and understandably, I think everybody understands why I think that.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Players are right here.
Hey, what's up, guys? Myself, Fredo Cervantes. We're here live with the post-game report on LA Sparks Weekly. I got a very special guest with us here today who covers the LA Sparks, John W. Davis from the LA Daily News. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem, sir. Thank you again for stopping by here. And, of course, what a victory. First of all, let's talk about the ending. I mean, it was a 17-point deficit for the LA Sparks. What did they do in the second half to overcome and win this game?
Well, I talked to several of the players after the game, and they basically told me that they just took this game possession by possession. They gave themselves little goals. They said, "Oh, let's get 3 stops, or let's go ahead and win these next couple minutes." And then they finally were able to tie this game up the end of the third quarter. And then right after that, they lost the lead, but they just didn't quit. Right. And it was very good to see them finally figure out a way to close out a game after winning this game, but losing 3 games before that, which they were in until the final minutes.
Right. It was a crazy 3-game span right here at Crypto.com Arena over the last week. There is another game on Sunday against the Dallas Wings, but Destanni Henderson. I mean, that name itself, if it wasn't for her, they would not have won this game, of course. Her energy on the court, her 18 points she put up today after only playing 5 minutes last game, and now getting this start here.
Yeah, 26.
Yeah, that was a lot of minutes. It just seemed like she played the whole second half. Why do you think Curt Miller took the chance in keeping her in the game? I know she was playing great in the first half, but what was it that Curt Miller maybe made that choice in keeping her in?
She was the energy. She was what they needed. He's been looking for a spark. He's been looking for somebody to be a game changer, and he found one in this game. I mean, she had 10 points at halftime, had another 8 in the second half, 18 points. That was her season high, obviously,
right?
Because she's only played a couple games. But it was one off of her career high as well. So she was just out there hooping, and that's what they needed. And Curt Miller told us that, it was him and the coaching staff, they talked and they said, you know what, maybe we can get some looks that we like if we play Destanni and Jordin together. Obviously, those are their 2 smallest players, but
it worked out.
It worked.
It worked out. That's a combination that maybe Curt
Miller. And they were
Miller.
playing against trees in there. McCowan's 6'7", Satu is 6'4", Natasha Howard is 6'2", but she plays like she's 6'5". Kalani Brown, when she was in there, 6'7".
They're huge down there. And let's not forget about the great performance of Enrique as well. That's what she does on a daily basis. They were able to contain her in the second half. What were the schemes that you saw out there that maybe were holding her back in the second half?
They basically just decided that they were going to lock in and kind of take her out of the offense. She started this game, scored 12 points in the first quarter, and it looked like it was going to be Enrique's night. And so at that point, they're like, well, we have to make sure that somebody else other than Enrique Wnba beats us.
Right.
And that's what they did. And so Natasha Howard started to get going. Satu Sabali got going in that fourth quarter. But when you take away a team's first option and the Sparks consider Enrique Wnba the Dallas Wings' first option, then you give yourself a chance. And when they tied this game, and then they tied it again and tied it again and tied it again. I mean, they tied it 6 times.
Right.
And you win by 2. I mean, they won by one more than they needed to. You
I
have
mean,
to win a game by one, they won by two.
And that was their largest lead of the game,
They only
too.
led by two.
Right.
So shout out to the Sparks for getting this done. But when you see a team down 27-10 in the first quarter, you're like, ooh, this can go one of two ways. It's either going to be a huge blowout or they're going to have to work their way back into it. And that's what they did. So I feel like the Sparks, they found something in this game. Now, you know, the first game of the season, Zia Cook had 14 points, and she hasn't done that since. Destanni Henderson had 18 points. She may not do this again while she's on this temporary contract, but she proved to everyone in the league that she should be in the league. She also proved that she can be a spark off the bench, and that's all they needed. They just needed one person off the bench to contribute. They got 3 in double figures, including her, 20 from Nneka, 18 from Jordin Canada, 18 from Destanni Henderson, and that was the recipe for success. If you can get 56 points from 3 players, you got a chance every night.
That's great. And as well as Azura Stevens and De'Erica Hamby had somewhat of an off night tonight. You know,
but they played defense.
They played defense. She was leading rebounded De'Erica Hamby tonight. But Azura Stevens in the first game on Tuesday night, she went 0 for 9 from the field, scoreless. In the first 3 quarters, she was scoreless until she picked up that top of the 3 key that she hit down there. Now she got on the board. But what is it going to take for Azura, De'Erica Hamby, the other pieces around Nneka to kind of contain this team and keep them in the hunt? Because right now it seems like they're falling a little bit down right now.
We've seen Hamby be successful. I think it is, effort. Not necessarily effort, excuse me. I think it's energy. I think that these players, they don't want to tell us because no one ever wants to admit that I'm tired.
Right.
But they're tired. They're in the midst of 6 games in 12 days. I'm tired just covering
Yeah,
the games.
same here.
So I know they're
Yeah.
tired playing in the games. So I think that that's a clue because the last game that they lost, the previous one, Nneka told us that she thought a lot of it was fatigue. And so, they had a couple days off in between that, and so they should feel a little better. But I think part of that is fatigue. But the fact that Hamby's shot wasn't going in, but she still contributed 10 rebounds. Stevens' shot wasn't going in, but she still contributed 7 rebounds, means that these players are still in these games. They're not just removing themselves just because they're not scoring. They're not saying, oh, I'm not scoring, so I'm not doing anything. Another person who I think kind of deserves a shout-out is Wnba.
Yes.
She was on the court when they came back. I know she only finished with 5 points and 5 fouls. We thought she fouled out, but apparently she only had 5. But I think, her and one and her buckets inside, I know it was only 2, but
that was a big time
That
bucket,
was
though. That
important.
was big time
Yeah.
right there. And, this upcoming Sunday, they get a rematch again. It's happening again.
Yeah.
They're 2-0 against Dallas this season.
It'll be the 3rd time they play them in a 10-day span,
right.
just like Minnesota. The way
So
these seasons stacking up.
Minnesota 0-3
Yeah.
against them. And now
Now they're 2-0 against the Wings.
Oh, my. This is just a crazy
The Sparks
NBA.
are 2-0 against the Wings. Believe it or not,
Right.
the Sparks are 2-0 against the Wings.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. It is crazy to believe that. And, of course, you guys can catch us here again on Sunday afternoon. It will be a primetime game on ABC. Last thought from you, John. What does LA need to do on Sunday to kind of close down this homestand, which it started 0-3, now possibly trying to get the last 2 here? What do they have to do to win it?
Well, I guarantee you that if they get down by 17 points again, they're not
They're
going to
not
win
gonna
the game.
win it.
They're not going to win the game. So the
Right.
first thing they have to do is ride that wave quicker. Do not get down by double digits. Because if you get down by double digits again, I bet you Enrique is not going to cool off. If Enrique is hot again, we've seen Enrique recently score 41 points in a game, and it was just constant offensive pressure the whole game. She was going back and forth with Jewel Lloyd. So if that's what it's going to take for Dallas Wings to win this game, then that's what it's going to take. Also, you have to give a shout-out to the Dallas Wings head coach, Latricia Trammell, who used to be an assistant coach here with the Sparks for the past 4 seasons. She's not going to let them lose the same way back-to-back.
Right.
So the Sparks are going to have to come up with something different. But if I told you the Sparks shot 35.1% from field and they shot 11.1% from 3 and they won a game, you'll be like, oh, we got to take that. So
2 out of 18 from 3, and they come out with the
can't
win.
shoot much worse.
Wow. No, they definitely cannot. And I know they're going to
Now,
have
they
a
made
night off
22 or
tomorrow.
25 free throws, so that kind of saved them. But they can't shoot much worse.
Right.
You're not going to go 2 of 18 from 3. Hardly ever. You're not
that's
going to
horrible.
shoot 26 of 74 from the field. Hardly ever. So
No, they're not definitely
I
going
would
to do that.
expect I would expect a better game shooting from the Sparks, but then I would also expect a better game from the Wings.
Dallas, right.
Because the Wings aren't always going to shoot 40%, and they're not always going to shoot 20% from 3.
Mm-hmm.
As much as both teams' defenses had an impact, both teams' offenses, they simply need to make more shots. They have to be better
They have to
if
be
they
better.
want to win games.
That's right.
So-
You heard it here from John, guys.
But check this out. So both teams are 6 and 7. What's going to be cool is that somebody will be leaving this game back to 500.
There it is. And that's something that LA needs to stick to in order for Lexi, because there's no word yet on Lexi Brown's return. Of course, she is one of the biggest offensive pieces they have here. And without her in the lineup, they don't look the same.
Right.
And thankfully, they were able to pick up this victory tonight, stay out of that losing streak they were in, and hopefully they can pick up another win and go 3-0 against Dallas on Sunday. Give me your last remarks here, what you see throughout the LA Sparks season.
I think this was a win that they can galvanize around. This is a win where they learned a lot about themselves. They learned that they can overcome a 17-point deficit and, tie the game and 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 finally get a 2-point lead and then have to tie it again. But then, Jordin Canada scores the last 4 points of the game and they win. So I think they learned a lot about themselves. I think Jordin Canada has found herself a backup point guard. Destanni Henderson is somebody that she can rely on. She can play with her off the ball, or, Jordin doesn't have to say, oh, I got to play 40 minutes again.
No.
I got to play 36 minutes. She knows that Destanni can come in there and do what she has to do to spell her. Like, players have to know that when they step off the court, their backup can keep it going.
Right.
Because if they don't, then they're in their mind, even if they don't want to, they're going to try to conserve energy so they can play the whole game. Well, I got to play the whole game, so I'm going to try to save a little bit. Now she knows that she can go hard as long as Destanni Henderson's here, and she can come in and do that. You still have Jasmine Thomas, who is going to work her way back, but that's going to take a while. So for now, if you come off the bench with Destanni Henderson, it gives them ball handling. They started the beginning of the season with 2 point guards in the lineup, and the other point guard was playing small forward. Lasia Clarington was playing small forward for this team. That was super important. A lot of people don't talk about that. The fact that they had a primary ball handler in Canada, a secondary ball handler in Lasia, and then, honestly, a third ball handler in Lexi Brown. Now they're down to 1 when they start Canada, Samuelson, and then whoever else in the front court.
Yeah.
You got to have 2 to make this work. And so I think they found something.
I mean, you heard it there from John W. Davis from the LA Daily News. Again, everyone stay tuned. Sunday afternoon, ABC, 12 o'clock prime time. You'll go ahead and catch John here back at it again. You'll catch me, myself, Fredo Cervantes back at it again. And we'll see you guys again on Sunday afternoon.
Thank you so much, Fredo.
Thank you, John.